The oil train keeps on chugging along, folks. The Oilers beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-1 yesterday, which set the record for longest Canadian win streak with 14 in a row. However, that is not the record that we're talking about in this video. We're going over a few extra things, because when it comes to this Oilers team, poetically actually playing off against Columbus, this is yet another night where Edmonton players go out there and make history. Now, of course, we had talked about the win streak, we had talked about this game. Honestly, you could say that the Blue Jackets had their opportunities in net, but really it was that Stuart Skinner going out there and getting himself the nod of MVP. 964 save percentage and 27 saves on 28 shots. On a night where you got goal support from Warren Foegele, Evander Kane, Connor McDavid, and Dylan Holloway. But because of this win, I wanted to go out there and talk about some of these extra stats that had been brought up, starting out with this one, tweeted out by Sportsnet Stats. Stuart Skinner has moved past Hall of Fame goaltender Grant Fuhr for the longest win streak by a goaltender in Oilers history. Who would have expected this, right? Especially after the beginning of the season that Stuart Skinner had. 11 straight wins for Skinner, passes Grant Fuhr's 10, and of course it was already ahead of Andy Moog, Tommy Salo, and Mike Smith. This, of course, is a pretty legendary goaltender that Stuart Skinner went out there and bested, and when it comes to his overall game log, I mean, just the numbers themselves speak volumes as to how well he has played. Going back to, let's just say, this game from ESPN Hockey Night. Let's ignore this one, the last time Stuart Skinner lost. But all these 11 games on the winning streak for Skinner and his overall profile. I mean, 912 save percentage, he had a 1 save percentage, the shutout in there, 929, 946, 967, 962, 958. The worst game here was a 912, and the second worst game here was a 926. He has been so amazing ever since starting out the year just terribly with those 7-5-0, 8-8-9 games against Vancouver and Winnipeg. And I say games, plural, because he did have 2 straight games where he let in 4 goals on 16 shots against. It's kind of funny how the Vancouver Canucks were able to pull that off. But when it comes to Skinner and the streak, I wanted to go over some extra comments here before moving on to the other crazy stat that was also broken here. Really cool to hear him talk about how much he looks up to Fuhr and has watched all his YouTube clips. Great guy, love the mustache. And then you have to go out there and ask yourself, what goalie from Edmonton wouldn't look up to a hometown hero like Fuhr? Arguably the biggest figure in Spruce Grove. And then, yes, Spectre asked him how he could look up to Grant Fuhr since he wasn't alive to see him play, which is, you know, that's a take. I mean, it's not like we have YouTube or anything, right? He has now tied another truly legendary netminder at 11 consecutive wins. Jack Campbell. Oh yes, baby, the highs and lows of Campbell are extreme. Skinner have gone from being the worst starter in the league at the start of the season to being one of the best in the last 20 games. He truly has. Contrary to what other people might assume, the Oilers have struggled significantly in many of their recent games, and Skinner has been absolutely pivotal in keeping this streak alive. And yes, that is definitely the case here. Skinner has been so phenomenal that anything that was said about him, any opinions that were held up back at the beginning of the year, I mean, look, you could say that the Oilers are getting carried by their offense. Their offense is going out there scoring a bunch of goals, but at the end of the day, dude, look at these goal against totals. 1 goal against, 1 goal against, 2-2, 1-1. They haven't allowed more than 2 goals against in a game with Skinner in net since Friday, December 22nd, the first win of Skinner's 11-game personal win streak. Of course, we talked about the win streak in total, the 14th straight for the Oilers, which is now the first overall Canadian winning streak. But an interesting thing about this 14-game win streak is that the last time we had seen a team go out there and do this, it was the 2016-17 Columbus Blue Jackets, who had themselves a 14-0-0 record in December, but then ended on January 5th, 2017, with a loss to the Washington Capitals. The interesting thing about this win streak is that we actually had ourselves a guy who played on both teams, and his name is Sam Gagner. Gagner has made NHL history as the Oilers win their 14th straight game, and the graphic says this, that he is the only player in NHL history to be a part of multiple 14-game winning streaks. Of course, it speaks volumes to how rare this kind of a streak actually is, that the guys in the Penguins in the 90s were not able to get 2 14-game winning streaks. They only got one that went as long as it did, and of course it went to 17 games played. But if you look at all these regular season winning streaks, I mean, the Oilers one is the active one here, so they're ranked in a 5-way tie for 6th overall. But that Columbus Blue Jackets team was indeed in this. But that Columbus Blue Jackets team had 16 total wins, and they were second all-time behind those 90s Penguins. None of these other teams were able to do it multiple times, but for Sam Gagner, he just happened to be a part of this one, and he's also a part of this one. And it's ongoing. I like how it's actually updated on the graphic here. Sam Gagner, just in case you wanted the update, has been such a nice story here for the Oilers. He has had all the weird stats and all the crazy games as a part of Edmonton, and then he bounced around everywhere else. He went to Arizona, he went to Philadelphia, he went to Columbus, he went to Vancouver, he went to the Maple Leafs organization, back to Edmonton, he went to Detroit, he went to Winnipeg, and now he's back in Edmonton. Sam Gagner is a puck doku king. If anybody actually still plays puck doku, then yes, Sam Gagner is probably one of the main guys that you keep on tossing out there, especially with 3 separate stints with the Edmonton Oilers. Honestly, remembering Sam Gagner as a part of that 2016-17 Columbus team when they had those 16 games in a row, he had 50 points in 81 games played that season. He was such a beast, and that's not even like the craziest highlight I feel that Gagner has ever had. Because even if we go over to his game log, I mean, this was that 2016-17 season that everybody was talking about for Columbus. If you scroll down to the December-January period, you will see all of those wins in a row. Look at that, eh? Started in Tampa Bay, November 29th, ended a month later on January 5th against the Washington Capitals. So this entire month of December was just filled with points and goals and everybody winning. But of course, everybody remembers the biggest highlight for Sam Gagner was back in 2011-2012, when at the start of the month of February, he had himself his 8-point game, 4 goals and 4 assists and an 8-4 win against the Chicago Blackhawks. This went down in history as one of the biggest highlights of Sam Gagner's career, and even a decade later, this was 2012, it's now 2024, everybody still brings it up, Sam Gagner is the 8-point guy. Sam Gagner is the guy who got 4 goals and 4 assists, but now he's also the only 14-game winning streak guy, because there's nobody else in NHL history who has achieved this mark of 14-plus wins and has done it twice. Sam Gagner is the only guy, so that's kind of legendary too. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Firstly, about Stuart Skinner setting the record for longest Oilers goaltender win streak, as well as Sam Gagner going out there and doing his thing, putting himself in NHL history for winning streaks too. Also, if you wanted to let me know your thoughts about the Oilers and this game against Columbus, as we had said, the Blue Jackets actually had their opportunities. The Oilers could have lost, but Stuart Skinner stood tall and stood his ground in the process. But the comment section is your floor. Let me know your thoughts, what you think. I hope you enjoyed this British 9, and bye.